I get it you're eyeing a new drum set, but the thought of splurging on something that ends up feeling off in your own space is making you hesitate. You've probably tried a cheap entry-level kit that sounded decent through headphones but fell apart the moment you tried a real groove, or maybe you're still using a traditional acoustic set that's taken over the whole living room. That middle ground, something that feels close to an acoustic kit, doesn't scream volume, and still looks legit on camera, can be hard to pin down. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's break down whether the Roland VAD316 V-Drums 5-piece kit lands in that sweet spot or if you're better off looking elsewhere. First off, the VAD316 is built around Roland's acoustic design concept. Instead of the thin plastic shells you see on a lot of beginner electronic kits, these pads use shallow-depth wood shells, and the kick drum is a full-size 22-inch unit. In practice, that means you get a noticeably more solid rebound on the snare and toms, and the kick pedal responds more like a real kick. When I set it up in my modest bedroom, the pads sat just a few inches above the floor, so I didn't have to fight against a massive rack of hardware. The shallow depth also makes the kit more portable than a traditional acoustic set. Unpacking, positioning the toms, and wiring everything took me about 15 minutes, which is a big win if you live in a small apartment and need to pack it away after a late-night jam. Now, the brain of the kit is the V31 sound module. Roland partnered with Drum Soundworks to create a multi-sampled library that covers everything from classic jazz brush patterns to modern metal double kick. The module's large color display makes navigating those patches almost as easy as scrolling through a streaming app. I spent a few minutes tweaking the kit to my liking, adding a little extra decay on the ride, dialing in a tighter snare snap for rock, and even layering a subtle electronic pad for a hybrid feel. Those tweaks saved me a ton of time because I didn't have to go into a separate DAW to shape the tones. Everything lives right on the unit. One of the biggest hidden trade-offs is the learning curve on that interface. The V31 is powerful, but it's also packed with options, and the menus can feel a bit deep if you're only looking for a quick plug-and-play experience. If you're a seasoned drummer who enjoys tweaking velocity curves, assigning MIDI CCS, or integrating the kit with a DAW via USB, you'll probably love the depth. If you just want to hit a pad and get a decent sound, you might spend a little extra time than you anticipated figuring out where the save button lives. That said, Roland includes a 6-month Roland Cloud Ultimate membership, which gives you access to additional instrument expansions and kit packs without hunting down third-party libraries. In my experience, those extra sounds kept my practice sessions fresh for weeks without feeling like a forced upgrade. Practical strengths shine when you think about daily usability. The built-in wireless adapter means you can stream drum tracks or backing loops from a phone or tablet straight to the module without tangled cables. I ran a Spotify playlist on my phone, paired it via Bluetooth, and the kit's metronome synced automatically. That's a small convenience, but it cuts down the clutter on a cramped tabletop. Also, the pads are designed to work well with headphones or an external amp. In a shared living situation, you can plug a pair of studio headphones into the V31 and practice at any hour without waking the neighbors, something you can't do with an acoustic kit. On the flip side, there are a couple of practical weaknesses you should weigh. The shallow wood shells, while an upgrade over plastic, still don't replicate the exact resonance of a full-depth acoustic shell. If you're a professional gigging drummer who relies on that natural acoustic feel for nuanced dynamics, you may notice a slight difference in the way the sticks rebound, especially on fast rolls. It's not a deal-breaker for most home players, but it's worth mentioning if you're used to the air of a real kit. Another consideration is the lack of built-in speakers. The V31 expects you to connect headphones, an amp, or a PA system, so if you imagined a self-contained unit, you'll need an extra purchase. I found a modest 15-watt desktop monitor works fine for bedroom practice, but if you plan to play live without a full PA, you'll have to budget for that gear. Who should buy this kit? If you're a hobbyist who wants a realistic feel without sacrificing volume control, the VAD316 hits the mark. It's especially attractive for content creators, YouTubers and TikTok musicians because the wood shells look more authentic on camera, and the full-size kick gives you that visual punch that a tiny mini kick can't match. It also suits home studio owners who need a MIDI-compatible drum source, the module's USB output.